What do the Patriots, what are they up to, Tom? What was it yesterday all about, best you can tell?
Best I can tell is they need draft collateral. Their entire roster, at least their depth chart, Rich, is kind of falling into needing a renovation. Okay, obviously you got a team who's gone to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, won 2 of them, is doing pretty well. But when you look at the roster and look at the last 2 drafts, they only had 3 players drafted last year make the team. The previous year they didn't have a first-round pick. Their first pick was Cyrus Jones. It's been a little bit of a disappointment. So they need to renovate. So in grabbing those picks and now having 2 first-rounders, the theory is that they might go up. I don't know if they'll necessarily go up, Rich. They might need to spend all those picks to help renovate the roster. And in terms of Brandon Cooks, he was useful in 2017, a good player, but they sent the 32nd overall pick to New Orleans for him, and they turned it into the 23rd a year later. And he just wasn't a great fit here. Not a horrible player by any stretch. Don't want to besmirch the guy, but it just wasn't a great fit.
Well, when it all comes down to it, I mean, to get a guy in for a year and almost win the Super Bowl with him and trade that pick and improve it the following year, I mean, that's a nice roster maneuver out of Belichick. But the question is staying put for who? I mean, he must have somebody identified to stay put. Tom, what do you think that he's looking at? Thinks that he can get at 23 and 31, or move around and move up? What is the plan, at least going in, if they do stay put here?
When they talk about looking at what they're going to get, they just stack. So Belichick has been, and Nick Caserio as well, you can't predict what the 22 teams ahead of you are going to do when you're at 23, so you need a handful of players that you would target if it dropped to that level. So it could be positional, or it could be the best player out there, but could be tight end, could be a quarterback, but you're going to go through those first 5 or 6 guys who are at the top pretty quickly, and they'll all be gone by 15. If he wants to move up for a backup quarterback, I don't know if that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Not a backup, but a guy who's a projected starter down the road. I don't think it makes sense to do when you have other needs on the team that are immediate. Sit there, wait for somebody else, as you did with Garoppolo, take Kyle Lauletta. But defensively, they need speed, in my estimation, Rich.
So let's go off the rails a little bit then. What's more possible, that these 2 first-rounders are used to get Odell Beckham, or these 2 first-rounders and others are used as capital, go up and get somebody to replace Brady one day?
More likely, but still not likely at all, would be to use the 2 to get up and get a quarterback. I think Belichick, over the course of time, he once told me in 2001, they had drafted Seymour. And I said to him, why did you do that? Because at that time, the thought was David Terrell was there and Bledsoe could throw downfield to him, and Brady hadn't emerged, even at that point when the draft had come. And Belichick says to me, he goes, who's the best rookie wide receiver this year? I'm like, he goes, it's Chris Chambers. He was a second-round pick from wherever the hell, Wisconsin or something, who was with the Dolphins. Because you don't need to go up into the top 10 to take a wide receiver. So he certainly wouldn't spend 2 firsts, in my estimation, to go and get Odell Beckham, who's looking for more money. He'd sit tight and get the quarterback if he chose that was the route.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.